It's late morning, Brevard County. I'm the Philosopher Pirate, and this is Florida at Large. I'm continuing my journey. I intended on shooting more video, but honestly, with the constant rainfall at present, not so much, but it was persistent completely overnight, almost my entire drive from the Florida Keys to Central Florida. I spent the entire morning. I rose a little earlier than I expected because the extreme weather alerts on my devices started sounding as early as 5 a.m. Maybe that was my imagination, but I know they were sounding by at least 6 a.m. And it was hard to return to sleep. Even when I silenced my devices, and maybe I made a mistake when I was silencing, but it still didn't seem to matter. I powered them off and used an old-fashioned alarm clock. Get a little bit more rest. But I've been up most of the late evening, and I was assisting friends and into the morning. Long drive, a lot of rain. There was Miami shopping in that area. There was actually police officers ensuring that water was quoted, like 2 cases of water per purchase and that type of thing. I was able to find water though. In Sam's Club, they were completely sold out of spring water. Walmart, pretty much the same, but purified water, which is basically filtered tap water. It was available. Even the Dollar Tree and Aldi had water. They didn't have police officers there, but they did have signage stating to limit your purchase of water so that other people. That was Miami-Dade County, and not really in the heavy forecast path, but there's probably going to be storm surge there. And this storm has quite a bit of uncertainty. I know that the models are focusing on the Tampa Bay area. There's a cold front descending, maybe that's not the correct word. It's moving southward across Florida. And hurricanes don't cross cold fronts, cyclones. So the storm has slowed in its progression. Now it's forecast to accelerate a little bit, but at this point, I'm not so sure where I should go once I finish securing property for friends here in Central Florida. I'm not sure if I should head north or head south. At this point, I'm just going to wait a little bit longer, get as much work done as I can here. And then when the weather starts to turn, I will either head north towards the Panhandle and wait out the event there, wait for the event, use better grammar, or I'll head back to the Keys. But again, it's a tough decision. Like I said, I'm in Brevard County here. This is probably going to look a lot different. I'm very close, within 20 miles of the forecast center of circulation of Milton. And that means that this is probably going to look a little different in a few days if the forecast path holds. But again, I'm beginning to have my doubts. I've been noticing that with each forecast point, if you look along, like it's every 6 hours, they have a forecast point, or every 3 hours, depending on which weather. But just go with the National Hurricane Center. I've been noticing that the storm is passing south, and on occasion well south of the next forecast point. If you look at the original cones, if you go into the archives of the National Hurricane Center for the original cone of uncertainty, it was well north of the Yucatan. Now the storm is skirting the coast of the Yucatan. So that means that the storm is trailing south of which they originally forecast, and it may be because of that cold front that is moving southward across Florida and the Gulf of Mexico. If this trend continues, the storm may still landfall in nearly the same place, the Tampa Bay area, Bradenton, maybe Sarasota, but it may travel up the coast of the west coast of Florida before it makes the landfall, or it may landfall further south. I can't see it going any further north, which is good news for the folks that were struck with Helene because of this cold front. Now, if the cold front stalls, that's a whole other thing. And you look at all the different models and everything, and this one's a hard one to call. And so my hat's off to the folks at the National Hurricane Center, they have their work cut out for them on this one. And I don't know if I'll be releasing this video before the storm strikes. I hope that I do. It depends on my internet. It's been a little shaky. I think there's a lot of people. I noticed the National Hurricane Center's their own site for a while yesterday wasn't working, and then it was reverting back to, it looked like an older site with really, like early 2000s graphics. So with the resolution I'm talking about. So we'll see what's going to happen there. Folks, if I do release this before, I mean, be safe. Don't make sure you have plenty of water, plenty of food, and not refrigeratable food. If you think your power may start failing, cook your food, and it will last longer when it's cooked. And and eat that food. Don't waste your canned food now, because you may need it in a few days if you're in one of the areas that's going to be heavily impacted. But my advice is not the best. The best advice comes from the National Hurricane Center and your local authorities, but also from your own experience. And you can talk to others that have experienced similar events, and they can share their experience. But again, follow the direction of your local authorities. If they feel your area is prone to flooding, you may want to move. The wind is not. I've been through the eye wall of Irma, and that was 2017, and it was a interesting experience being in continuous winds over 90 miles an hour. Sometimes as high as there's an argument about all this, but I measured winds over 105 miles an hour continuous during Irma. Who knows? Others say, no, they never reach more than 92. All this arguing occurs after the storm, but I was in it, and the gusts were lifting roofs off of my neighbors' homes. So I don't think that was 90-mile-an-hour winds. No. So those gusts were quite heavy, and and I was out in the weather adjusting the position of my vehicles, which probably sounds strange, but I saved them. We're keeping the windshields into the wind, and not letting basically the vehicles be broadsided by the wind gusts. And I was wearing some protection, a helmet and so forth, but again, maybe it wasn't the smartest thing to do, but the vehicles did survive, and they were useful after the storm, as I was one of the first on the ground in the Florida Keys, basically clearing the road so that we could receive assistance. I'm sharing that knowledge with individuals here in Central Florida and helping them prepare. I'm going to get back to work, but I figured I would shoot this little video in the meantime, and we'll see how it goes from there. I don't know if there's much more to say at this point, but it's Brevard County, late morning. I'm the Philosopher Pirate, and this is Florida at Large.